I'm Brenna Wilson, joined by Holy Cross men's basketball coach Bill Carmody. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
We're here in the George Blaney Gymnasium and in the new Luth Athletic Complex. How has that helped with recruitment so far?
Well, it actually helped with this year's freshman class because when these, our freshmen now were juniors, we could lay that out to them. This was going to happen. We had the pictures, the specs, and all that, and then they saw it progressing. You saw the steel coming in and all that. So a lot of people realized that, hey, this is going to be something special, and it's proven to be just that.
And this is your third year here, so now you have pretty much most of your recruits in with you. How is that going to help with your team this year?
Well, yeah, it's my guys, but I like the guys that were here before too, and we did okay with them. So we have a lot of young guys, but I think the season is really going to depend on some of the guys that have played a lot of minutes: Pat Benzin, Carl Charles, Jehiva Floyd, and then we'll see what the freshmen do.
Yeah, you graduated a lot of your top performers last year in Malachi Alexander, Rob Champion, and Anthony Thompson. How are you going to kind of get some more guys to kind of step into their place?
I don't have any choice.
Yeah.
Half the team is freshmen, and there are freshmen, and so we're just going to have to throw them in there and see what happens. But I like them. I think there's a certain toughness about them, and basically they can shoot the ball, which I'm fond of, guys that shoot the ball well.
Yeah, right, exactly. So your first year here, you brought Holy Cross to their first NCAA win in about 50 years. As a new head coach in a program, how difficult is it to kind of understand what you have for players and able to get to that point?
Well, I think the guys that were here, they helped me along, because it was hard on them too. And so, but most of them were juniors that were, significant players. And I don't think we ever had too many problems, not on the court or anything. They're hard workers. Maybe when they went back to the locker room or back in their dorm, they were saying this, this guy. But I think that they made it a lot easier for me.
Definitely. You played in college. How has the change been from going to be an athlete and then as a coach, moving on to being a coach?
Wow, it was so long. That was a previous century. Can we go to the next question?
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
it really
right.
was a previous century. So I don't know. I think I always thought like a coach, and so I don't think there was a giant transition.
Did you have any mentors that you kind of looked up to when you were starting out?
Yeah, almost all the guys that coached me, and in high school and college, and guys I played with that I admired the way they played and tried to, imitate their behavior.
Now you were an assistant coach at Princeton with Pete Carroll. What was that like working with him?
Oh, it was the greatest, I mean, you're talking about mentors. I mean, that guy, he was unbelievable. He and Gary Walters, Bill Scanlon, these are some of the guys that were my coaches. My high school coach also, Pat McCann. But Pete was, one of a kind. I mean, just smart as could be, sharp, down to earth. He saw things differently. He's lefty. You're not lefty, are you?
Oh, I am a lefty.
You are a lefty?
I am a lefty.
Well,
we're
lefties,
a rare breed.
That's the way to put it. Yeah. But he saw things differently than most people. And, there was some kind of adjustment, but it was the kind of stuff that I liked a lot. And he helped me, immeasurably.
Now, we talked a little bit earlier about in 1989, Princeton and Georgetown played. What do you kind of remember from that big game in the NCAA?
Well, I just remember, and we talked about this before going on air here, that I was ready for the, March Madness show on a Sunday, 5 o'clock. I got some buffalo wings. I'm all set, maybe an adult beverage, I forget. And I'm excited because I know we're in there. And the first 3 words that showed up, they had the brackets, and it just said, Georgetown, Princeton, Providence. I said, So that's what I remember about that game.
Right. Now, Holy Cross has a rich history of basketball. What does it mean to be in this program with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, and so I remember an awful lot of these, the great teams, great players, great coaches. And so when I came here, I recognized that. And, what we're trying to do, I mean, leagues have changed, and the game has changed an awful lot. But it just like to bring that back to resemble some of those kinds of teams. And I think just with this new facility and some really good players, I think, coming in that we're on our way.
You guys are starting up in November. You just had your first practice yesterday. What are you seeing with this team so far?
Oh, it was crazy. It was really bad practice. It was bad. Balls were flying all over the place, and I didn't expect that, so I didn't get much sleep last night. But it was I'm expecting us to do pretty well. Like we mentioned before, I have to throw some guys in there, and they're going to have to come through if we're going to be any good. But the strength of the team has to be from, 2 or 3 juniors.
Now you guys make the travel to Belfast this year for the Classic. What does playing in those kind of tournaments how does that help the team?
Well, I just like, it's, again, 6 freshmen. And so we're going to go over there. We're going to travel, all the things that go along with traveling, a new country. Some of these guys have been in like 3 states in their life. So now they're going across the ocean, and so it's going to be different. But then you have to realize that it's down to business. You have some good teams. It's a very good tournament, and so we're going to have to produce. But I think just traveling with the guys, I think, will be important for us down the road.
And then finally, what are some goals that you guys have in place for this year?
I'm not real big on goals.
Yeah.
I just every day you go to practice, you practice hard, you try to get better. Every game you do the same thing. I don't really think about, I know where I'm having lunch today, and that's about as far as I go.
Awesome. Good luck this year.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you for
Maria.
joining us.
All right.